All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lasting Learning Podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest joining us. If you could just see all the things happening behind the scenes, you would be even more impressed with this guest that we've got on right now because she is overcoming all the things to be here with us today. She is absolutely incredible. She's a doer of all the things. She's a wife, she's a mom, she's an educator. She is a dog lover. She is persistent. She is dedicated. She is a Southern belle, and she is here joining us today. Jessica Reed, the one and only Jessica Reed. Jessica, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, first of all, thank you for jumping through so many hoops to make this thing happen. Again, people don't necessarily know all the things that are happening behind the scenes, but you have put up with a lot to make this happen today. So I appreciate it. And this is going to be epic. This is going to be amazing. I am just so grateful that you're here. Now, I've gotten to know you a little bit in recent weeks, but some people that are listening right now might not have connected with you yet. Do you mind just taking a minute and introducing yourself to the world?
Sure. Stop. This is my
Oh, first
dog
of all,
now
that
trying to
stop
make an
was not to me,
introduction.
people.
You may even get to see a 4-year-old in a minute. My name is Jessica Reed. I am a middle school special education teacher. I teach 6th through 8th grade ELA resource, and I also do inclusion. I've been teaching probably about 12 to 13 years. I am married to my husband, Robbie. We do live in Alabama. I am not from this area. I actually moved here from Lexington, Kentucky. I'm originally from Cartersville, Georgia. The best person that I can think of that's famous from my high school is Trevor Lawrence. He recently went #1 in the NFL draft. And he is like a hometown hero to the point they have a huge mural on the wall. Let's see. I'm a huge UK basketball fan. Know way too many stats. I still hate Christian Leitner. I love presenting. I love talking about anything special ed and ed tech. I'm kind of a weird combination. You don't usually you either see someone completely ed tech or completely off sped. I typically do both. I got way too many certifications. I was currently working on my dyslexia and my gifted certification in the state of Georgia, and I teach in Georgia. So I live in Alabama, I teach in Georgia. State of Georgia is weird. You can get things added on. And so I'm actually finishing my dyslexia today. Fingers crossed I do. And I have a 4-year-old named Elizabeth, and I have a mini schnauzer, Dexter, who made his appearance here just a minute ago. And the coolest thing, I'm a Teach Better ambassador. I just got that. I applied. I didn't think I'd actually get it. I did, and I was really surprised, but I've really enjoyed the community so far. It's probably been one of the coolest communities I've been a part of. Everybody's just so welcoming. Like, even I know nobody knew me on my birthday, and I got so many happy birthdays. And then the other cool thing, I am a Google for Education trainer, or whatever, Google for Education workspace trainer, but I'm also a Google innovator from the New York cohort from 2019. And that's probably my coolest label I have, because that was like the coolest thing I've ever gotten to do.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
that's a
So
lot in so many words.
I'm going back, and before we can start talking about certifications and teaching and all of that official stuff, you mentioned that you are still a Christian Leitner hater. Just for the record, you are not in the minority there. Everybody hates Christian Leitner. Okay. I'm a Michigan guy here, and I hate Christian Leitner. He came and played for my Detroit Pistons for a little while, and I hate Christian Leitner. People, if you're listening to this and you have no idea what we're talking about, just Google it. Google Grant Hill, Christian Leitner, The Shot, any of the things. Yeah.
You can watch ESPN, any of the championship basketball games. They always have to play that part. And
The
I'm like,
Shot.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember sitting with my dad watching it. I was like 5 or 6.
Right. Yeah.
We thought we won. We did not.
Yeah. Yeah. He is the epitome of Duke basketball, and he's the reason that so many of us can't stand Duke. But so we have a common bond. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Yes, yes, and yes. But I also found it interesting when you said that you are a big blue basketball fan. You didn't just say big blue fan. Can you not be a Kentucky football fan as well? Or are you just a fair weather fan here?
Oh, I'm definitely not a fair weather fan. My husband
Okay.
can attest to that. I am not a fair weather. I am a three-time alumni, or third generation alumni, actually. No, I cheer for our football team. I mean, our football team had a better record than our basketball team this year. But if you want to talk stats and statistics, or stats and like facts, I will be more of a basketball person than I am a football
There
person.
you go. I love it.
So
I love it. And I mean, let's just be real. You're in Alabama, teaching in Georgia, SEC country, and probably bragging about Kentucky football. It's kind of a hard battle to win at times, right? So, no, you still got it. Okay.
no, I don't. I don't have anything. My husband's a twice graduate of Alabama, and if you know, they just won the SEC championship in softball, and I had to hear about that. So Kentucky won nothing this year except volleyball. Like, we're a volleyball school now, apparently. He's
That's
looking
amazing.
at me, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yes.
He's looking at you, and he's like, "Yep, I run this household." Which it's interesting. So you said from Georgia, went to Kentucky and Alabama, teaching like done this circle throughout your life, right? You've traveled the path. But you're in Alabama right now, just outside of Georgia, so it's not like you're driving 5 hours to work every day. You're kind of straddling the fence there. And even when you're in Alabama doing the work in Georgia, you're literally doing all the things. You mentioned like 15 different labels, 15 different certifications that you've got there. Why? Why do you feel the need to do so much? Can't you just sit back and relax in the rocking chair and just enjoy that sweet Southern life?
My husband's sitting there going, no. I think it's because for so long in education, I was in a place where I was in a school system where I never felt appreciated. And I've been in several school systems just because of moving or different reasons.
Mm.
And I'm finally in a school system where they accept me for my crazy and just totally love the fact that I want to do so many things. And it's also kind of a weird thing because I really want to show my daughter. We have one child,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to show her that I am more than just a mom, if that makes sense. Because mom is like the best job I have, but I enjoy doing all that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know, I'm more myself when I'm busy and I have 800 things going on
Yeah.
than when I'm not. Like, I don't know how to relax. That's
No, I feel like this is an area that I want to kind of explore a little bit because you're saying some things that are speaking to my soul here. So recently I was going through and I was working on my resume. I'm not looking for new jobs or anything. It's been a while since I looked at it. And my resume right now is 8 pages long, 8 pages long, right? And you get all these people, these experts that say, no, your resume is only supposed to be a page long so people will read it. Mine is 8 pages long. And I have no idea how to shrink that sucker down because there are so many things on there, so many titles and certificates that I went out and earned, got, whatever the case may be, that I thought were important at the time. And now I'm looking at them saying, should I cross that one off? Should I leave that one on? Which of these things that I have on my 8 pages really resonate with me now to the point where I would say this is my identity. If I had to shrink it down to a page, could I do it? And I'm really having that internal battle with myself right now, trying to figure out which things I truly value and which things I have on there just because they're things I want to have on there. When you're looking at your career in this, where you're at right now, working with people and for people that truly value you for you right now, that don't require you to jump through hoops, and you said they embrace you're crazy, they embrace you doing all of these cool things. What is the thing that resonates with you most when people say this is Jessica Reed? Do they think she's she's into technology, she's into special ed, she's got the Google certification, she's working on just like what is the thing that people would identify with you? Or is the thing that
that's a
you've got
good
all the
one.
things?
I think I've got all the things, and it's because, like, I'm in a small district, but and we just became like one-on-one Chromebooks a couple of years ago, and that's when I really started the whole technology thing. And I've always been special ed, but then I fell more into love with technology, and then this summer I'm starting computer science. I'm going through a computer science endorsement
Mm.
because that really just sparked my interest. So I don't really know what's the one thing. The one thing I do know is that I'm a wife and a mom. That's I do
Right,
know that.
right, yeah. And so that is the heart of your identity. Obviously, I mean, it rings true with everything that you do, and the fact that your husband's right there watching this right now, and you guys are sharing this space right now, making this happen. And we know that is who you are at your core. What if you could still get all the training, but you didn't get certifications for it, and you couldn't get the badges or the labels or the email signatures? Would you still pursue these things that you're pursuing right now?
I would. I actually, when I first started doing all those certifications, I did. I looked like that tech geek who had like the 35 on their email signature. I got rid of all of them. The
Mm.
only one I have on my school one is going to be my Google Innovator, and that's because that's the one I'm the most proud of. And then my personal one, I have my trainer, my innovator, my Nearpod Pioneer, because I fought hard for that one. And then I have my Teach Better. So, like, no, it's not about the certifications. I think I just love soaking up so much knowledge
Mm.
and then turning it around and sharing it with other people. And I feel like I can do that in a way that's a little fun. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
present normal. Like, I like to be like, that's why I always joke I'm a teacher, because I can't just sit. I have to talk, I have to do things. And so I think the way I present things to like colleagues or just anyone in a conference, although somebody may disagree, as I try to be fun and just share what I know works and what may not work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, as you speak again, you're speaking directly to me and to my heart right now. So I apologize for all the listeners that are listening to a Dave Schmittou therapy session here, but you're helping me make sense of some things. I was recently talking with Jeff Gargis, from the Teach Better team, and he and I were talking, and I run a lot. And he's trying to get to the heart of, why do I run a lot? And I jokingly told him one day, it's because I want to get all the race t-shirts and all the race bling. I got to get the medals. And he said, well, if you entered a race and they didn't give you a shirt anymore, and they didn't give you medals, would you still show up? And I honestly had to think about it. Well, and I asked him, well, do they still give me beer at the finish line? Like, do I get something for finishing the race? Because if I just have to go out and run, I honestly don't know that I would do it. It's refreshing to hear you say you would keep doing all the work and all the things that are necessary to grow and to learn, even if those certifications and those credentials weren't attached to them, because it's filling you with innovative ideas and allowing you to grow as a person and making you a better wife and a better mother and a better educator every single day, which is so cool. I'm curious though, in your school and your district, do they see and celebrate all of the things that you're doing to grow and improve as much as you do? And I say this because right now I'm in Michigan. I used to work down in the South. I was a principal down there for about half of a decade or so. And I remember hearing from people constantly who would say, you don't have to do all the things. Feel free to slow down. You don't have to do all the things. Good enough is good enough. And it didn't match with me. And I'm wondering, for somebody that is so driven and so focused on just going, do others celebrate what you're doing, or do you feel this friction and tension where people don't understand?
Um, I feel like it's like a twofold.
Okay.
Because I feel like the administration we had last year was kind of, this past school year has been interesting. I've always had like a hard time with principals, and I just don't know if it's because sometimes, when you have a relationship with someone and they just, they don't like you, they're like, why were you hired, kind of thing. And then I've also had a situation where someone micromanaged the heck out of me, and it just was it was to the point where she would like post crap on Facebook and I knew it was about me.
Mm.
Like that kind of situation. But then when I went to the school I'm at now, which was really hard because my daughter was like 10 weeks. I had to leave I worked at a behavioral school, and it got to a point where I couldn't work there anymore. Because I had a newborn. I just couldn't. I didn't want to miss Christmas and all of those kind of things, because it was like it's a year-round school. Like, you didn't have a choice. So when I came to the school, I was very nervous because I met my principal, and I met my assistant principal, and the assistant principal knew of me from like a friend that I had worked with previously. And he was just awesome. He was like, you're ridiculous, but keep going. When I reach out to him still. I still tell him I miss you. Please come back. And he tells me no because he moved to our elementary school. He would rather deal with little ones, which I
You
totally
saw
get
the
because
light, yeah.
middle schoolers are a much. But then our principal actually, this is before COVID hit, they decided that they needed her at central office. And she moved to central office and we got a brand new administrator. And I was like, well, it's going to be great. She has no idea, because the report I had that with our previous principal had been very, like, she supported everything. She did tell me no sometimes, and she would bring me back down to earth. And my husband loves her. I mean, she's just awesome.
I love that that's where you insert it, and my husband loves her. And so you basically said, I have this woman who humbles me and puts me in line. Check. My husband loves her. I love that. Carry on.
And so then we went, and then we got this new admin, and I was like, she has no idea about me. This could either be good or bad. And she has been she's embraced it. I'm our lead special ed teacher. She has just embraced everything. She thinks I'm nuts, but she's like, hey, let's do it. Let's go for it. And we also have gotten a new superintendent. We have an interim at the current moment. And he thinks I'm insane too, but it's okay because he supports it. He supports insanity. Like, we have never had a tech, any like tech PD until a girlfriend and I, we actually kind of we do tech PD for our district. We came up with Camp Dade, and we did it last year, and we're doing it again this June. So it's like our second year, and you're doing the technology PD. And I think he thinks it's like the coolest thing ever because he didn't have to come up, like nobody else came up with it. Like, we're just trying to serve. So, sometimes I do feel like, and I'm sure most, some teachers do, there are certain times when you wish you could get accolades. Like, I'm not going to say like it just make me a little jealous when you see, like, on Twitter, you see so-and-so got teacher of the year or something like that. Mm-hmm. But then you have to, on the flip side, you have to, and I've had my moments about teacher of the year before because I've never gotten it. I've gotten teacher of the month before, but I've never gotten teacher of the year. And I don't know if it's necessarily a popularity contest or if it's based off of, I think it's more popularity sometimes, depending on the school situation. I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, that's a cool way to branch out your topic. Like, you can go speak. That's where I'm thinking, like, you get to do all these cool things. It's really more like I have to internalize how cool things I'm doing. Does that make sense? So while yes, I do feel like people recognize that, hey, you're doing awesome. I think some people just expect me at this point because I'm 4 years into this system, and they just expect it out of me at this point, which is fine. I do give up things, and it's funny when I was did cheerleading for 2 years, which that's a whole nother game. I'd never coached anything before in my life. I was a baton twirler. I did band. And that's a whole nother world. Like, competition cheerleading is like, oh my God, those people are crazy sometimes. I'm just saying. If you've never been to a competition, woo. And I mean, I love cheering. Kentucky cheerleaders are fantastic. I love watching it. But some people are crazy. And I did it for 2 years, and I gave it up for a year because I just couldn't have the time. And the rapport I didn't have with at that time, the coach, she just wasn't very nice to me. I mean, she kind of, like, the way she treated me, it was very interesting. And I normally I hate conflict, and so I don't stand up for myself, and I should have, now that I'm a year out from it. Mm-hmm. And the band director approached me and was like, hey, she's been after me for like 3 years. Can you come help with color guard? And I said, I'm a baton twirler. I've been twirling baton since I was 6, and I'm 36 now, so that's 30 years of baton. I mean, I can go out my driveway right now and toss it up and spin around twice. That was my thing. And I said, sure. My husband was cool with it. He actually went to Alabama, and he marched in the $1 Million Band for 5 years. So there's just such a difference when you are around people. Like, marching band people are completely different than cheering people. It's just it's so laid back, and they're like, hey, you're awesome, thanks, So It just depends, I guess, on who you're around when you get if that makes any sense. I feel like that's a lot of
So
rambling.
no, it's all good. It's all good. I felt like you were making sense of your thoughts as you were going too, and I didn't want to interrupt them, but I heard something very early on in your response just now that intrigued me. This idea that you're around people right now that recognize the crazy but celebrate it, right? I think that there are times in our lives where um, others might call us out and think we're crazy, and we look at it and like, who are you to call me crazy? Have you seen your? But when people embrace the crazy and cheer on the crazy and push the crazy and embrace the crazy and empower the crazy, we run with the crazy, and it makes us who we are, and we celebrate it and we own it, and we want, because they're there championing it as opposed to judging it. There's a fine line between judgment and celebration, and sometimes they both carry the same words, the same messaging, but it's the follow-up actions. Do they empower it or do they try to silence it? And I love the fact that you are surrounding yourself right now with people that are empowering you to keep going and keep growing, and to be you, to be the crazy. That's awesome. I love that. I love that. I'm wondering right now though, because you've mentioned kind of, we haven't been direct about this, but you've mentioned at times this desire to go out and change the way that people are doing things. You talked about this desire to speak at conferences and to share your message in your district, and you love the fact that people are allowing you to be innovative, and innovators are people that change the way things are done. What is the thing that you're trying to change when you look at the schools and the systems and the people that you're trying to empower and inspire? What's the thing that you're trying to get them to do?
Well, I think it's like two things really, because I want people to realize that the main goal, the main purpose is that in the inclusion classroom, technology is not hard. It's there to make it better for you.
Mm.
Because so many times in the inclusion classroom, you have two teachers, and sometimes it goes good, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends. But I want to provide different opportunities and things for people to learn that inclusion is great for all students, because students with special needs have every single right that a student without special needs has. You know what I mean? Like, and I hate to be that person, and I say this when I speak. Um, an IEP is a legal document. I'm sitting here watching my husband work on legal documents. I don't want to go to court. I hear about court. That's not fun. I like my teaching license. I like being able to go buy stuff and have health insurance. I don't want to lose my license because I don't follow a piece of paper. This committee comes together and creates this IEP for this student to be placed in an inclusion classroom. And so many teachers have like this wall up about using technology to get a kid to respond to something. There are so many things like Flipgrid, where if you have a student, like I know we're all doing state testing. I don't know why this year, but I know we're all doing state testing. Some kids just don't test. I didn't make 1,000 on my SAT. I think I'm pretty smart. I made a 990. So it might have just been like one bubble that I could have gotten 1,000. But I mean, I still went to school. I have 4 degrees. I mean, I have all the way up to an EDS. They're like Flipgrid. You can use that to have students respond to you verbally, and you can learn that they know something. They have mastered this topic. But as soon as they get their pencil down the paper, I don't know about you, but my 6th graders, I had to have an argument with a 7th grader, not 6th grade, 7th graders last week about why we need to capitalize P in Puerto Rico. For real. This is where we are in the school year. Like, we have to capitalize proper nouns. Puerto Rico's a proper noun. But if you get him to talk to you verbally about it, he could tell you all these facts. Mm-hmm. But he had to do a slideshow. So I just want people to realize that there's other ways to get responses from students, especially students with special needs, than just paper and pencil. I guess that's where I'm coming.
So I'm making some good connections here between your story and your mission. So you talked about the fact that you love the fact that you are now celebrated for being unique and being innovative and being creative. crazy, I think was your word. Although other people didn't necessarily see those things as strengths, you did. Other people might have looked at your test scores and said, they're not the best, they're not good enough, but you did. And then you took it and ran with it. And now you're kind of doing the same thing with kids. You're looking at kids and saying, some people are going to look at your strengths, your uniqueness, your whatever, and we'll label them as disabilities or disadvantages or things that make you not good enough, but they are. And you're empowering other people now to find the strengths in other people so that they can be celebrated. And I think that's so powerful, especially at the middle school level, where middle school is hard for kids. I was a middle school educator. That's my sweet spot. And I loved it. I loved it because middle schools stink. They're gross. There are hair and hormones everywhere, right? And I love that. It is so hard to be a middle school student because you're so worried that everybody, your peers, your parents, your teachers are looking at you. They're judging you. They're seeing you change. They're seeing you grow. And it is so hard. Add on top of that the fact that some students get some sort of label that they have to wear around like a scarlet letter, that other people then look at them and say, and because of that label, you're less than, and you won't ever be able to. I hear you saying you find your mission, your vision in life to help adults realize you got to embrace the kids, find those kids where they are, and find ways to reach them outside of what you've always done before. Am I hearing that right, or am I just blowing that completely out of the water? Okay.
No, that's right. That's
Awesome.
right.
I love that. I love that so much. It's interesting to me, though, that this is seen as an innovative practice. Because every educator, I truly believe every educator signed up to become a teacher because they wanted to change a destiny. They wanted to change a life. They wanted to empower a generation. So why do you feel like it takes innovative practices? It takes equipping them with tools and different mindsets for some of us and for an entire system of educators to say, okay, maybe I do need to look at it differently.
Because when you go through college, and I don't know if you remember your classroom management or any of your teaching classes. Mine was the most basic group of students who everybody was average. I didn't have to challenge them at all. No behaviors. That's the picture that you get painted when you read Harry Wong, that you don't have students who, my first day at kindergarten, man, I was the third teacher for this kindergarten class. I had a kid Spider-Man the wall, like by the door frame. And I just remember going home and being like, Kentucky didn't teach me that. I don't,
See, just so, had you moved to the Midwest and gone to a great MAC school or Big Ten school, they would have. I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's the SEC fault. But it was one of those things where I just remember, like, throughout all the classes I've been, and my student teaching, as wonderful it did a disservice to me because my class was all inclusive gifted. So I didn't have any behavior problems. I worked with students who were, fourth grade, but reading at an eighth grade level, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But that's not reality. You know what I mean? Like, how often do you really get that type of class, especially being a first year teacher? You don't. Mm-hmm. Can I help you? Are you gifted, Dexter? He's fine. And so I think I just want people to understand that your classes are full of students who you don't know what they come from. You don't know what they are going home to. You can control what happens in your class, and you need to make sure. That's our whole goal. A whole goal of teaching is that we have to figure out how the kids learn and then teach them. Yeah. And we have to teach them so much more than just multiplication or reading comprehension. I'm to a point with my kids, I don't care how many words you read per minute. Fluency is important, but I'm more concerned, do you understand what that is asking you? Are you inferring? What is that saying? Or when you write something, what are you trying to say is your purpose? Rather than, which, if that makes any sense, that I tend to get on a soapbox about that kind of stuff.
You're good.
But
I'm going to step right up on that soapbox with you. Yeah, this idea that when you went to school, you didn't necessarily learn how to even play school, right? I mean, you're in the education business, you are in school, and even going to school didn't necessarily equip you for that job. Sometimes I get infuriated when I hear educators, especially at like the middle school level, when you're working with 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds who say that their job is to help prepare those kids for adulthood, right? As if school is equipped to prepare people for the careers they're going to have. And even in education, we would argue that school doesn't prepare us for school because we have to go student teach to really learn how to do school. We have to spend 5, 10, 15 years in the classroom before we get really good at the job. The only thing that helps prepare you for life is life. As a parent, you got one kid, I've got 4 kids. I can tell you when I first found out my wife was pregnant with the first one, I went to the library and got every book I could to try to figure out how to be a parent. I got the Baby Wise, I got Parenting for Dummies, I got everything. And let me just tell you, the only thing that prepared me for being a parent was being a parent, because those books didn't set me up for anything. Some scared me, some filled me with some knowledge, but none of them actually prepared me for doing it, like doing it. So I love the fact that you are equipping kids with skills that they actually have to go do. You're teaching them how to advocate for themselves. You're giving teachers the skills that they can then use to advocate for kids and to help kids be successful, not when they're 25, 30, 36, 45, whatever, to prepare them to be successful today, to build them with confidence, self-esteem, and the skills to be successful today. I love that so much, so much, so much, so much. Sorry, I had to go up on that soapbox with you. Oh, it's fun. So, Jessica, as I think about your career future, where do you see yourself going on this journey? Do you know where you'll be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or are you one of those people that's like, no, I'm in the moment right now. I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
I honestly don't know. I mean, currently, I just would like my 4-year-old to be poop trained.
Oh, it's the big things. I
I
love
had
it.
somebody asked me that the other day. They're like, "What do you want to do next year?" Actually, I had a parent come up to me and was talking to me about school next year, and I was like, "I just want my kid to go potty." Like, I'm not really thinking like back in August. You know what I mean? So if you have any suggestions on how to poop train, love to know it, because it doesn't matter to her. Anyway, that's beside the point. But that's my reality. That's why
So
there's
first
one
of
of
all,
her.
when you
So
get
more
this
power to you
when you get
for.
this podcast link, I want you to hold on to this, and I want you to share that little segment with your daughter in like 10 years. Just say, "Hey, I shared this with the world," and just see. I want to see that reaction. Sorry, go ahead.
I will. No, but that's the reality of our life right now. I think I'm hoping I'll still be in the same system. Um, but I would either like to be a computer science teacher or to be instructional technology, because that's what my EDS is in. Um, like on the side hustle, I guess, or side world, as we talk about it, because it's so funny when I work with people and I'm like, yeah, I spoke at such and such conference, and I was talking to somebody I work with, and I was like, yeah, I think I've done like 18 conferences so far this year, and like we're in May. They're like, how? I don't know. I mean, they're all virtual, which is great. I'm sure we'll have to come up to it at some point. I love talking. I love getting out there. I would like to. Eventually, I would love to learn to be a keynote somewhere. I don't know if that's through technology or if that's through special ed. I'm getting more where I'm applying for national conferences. I'm doing ITSE, which I'm excited about, which is about
Congratulations, that's awesome.
collaboration. Thank you. I hopefully will have my book published, which is called The Collaborative Prenup, and it's about co-teaching and collaboration in the classroom, and how, co-teaching is like a marriage. So I don't know if I'll ever write another book. And yes, I know you have written books. That took me so long. And like, and that was crazy.
Well, that's sort of like childbirth too, right? It's sort of like you have that baby and you realize, oh my gosh, that was so much work. But then a year later, you forget about it. And you're like, and maybe another one's in the works. And so don't ever say never to the kid thing or to the book thing. Just saying. Carry on.
um, but it's, I would like to, I mean, that's pretty much like, I would eventually like to keynote. I still want to be in the classroom as much as I can. I feel like that makes me more authentic as a speaker and as a learner. Um, so I guess that's what I'm really just trying to survive at this point. Make
I
it,
hear you.
make it to pre-K, because my daughter cracks me up, but she
Right.
just turned 4 like last week. And oh my God, her tantrums are so, I mean, they are, whoo, she doesn't tantrum for anyone except me and her daddy. And she's me. That's what's so funny is it's like she looks just like her daddy, but it's a mini me. I mean, her sass is real.
I understand that pain. Yeah. Of four of my kids, three of them are just like me. And God, it's hard. So hard. No, I hear that. I hear that. So let's play make believe real quick then. Let's imagine that you're keynoting somewhere, but that you're not just keynoting somewhere, you are keynoting for the world. Like the entire educational world is listening to you. That you've got the stage, you've got the platform, they've got cameras and spotlights on you, you've got a microphone in your hand, you have just dropped some knowledge on the world, right? And they're all listening to you. And they know that you're wrapping up. They know that you're finishing your message. And you know that this might be your last time to ever speak to the world of education ever again, or at least to have such a captive audience. I want to know if you have that opportunity with the microphone in hand to say something and then drop the mic and then just walk off the stage to a raucous applause and jaws that are dropped and people wiping eyes and saying, I have to go do that, whatever it was that was. What do you leave people with? What's your mic drop moment?
That's a hard one. Um, I knew it was coming. That's why I was trying to think, but then we got talking. Um, I think my mic drop moment would to be that the classroom needs to be as inclusive as it needs to be. That you have kids of all different types in your classroom, and you as a teacher need to figure out how to teach them.
Good. It's on us. It's on you. Own it. Grow into it. Celebrate it. Learn it. A phrase that I know that you hear all the time now is just constantly try to be better. It's always about better. Be better today than you were yesterday. And that goes for you. That goes for me. That goes for everybody. So educators out there right now, listen to Jessica. She just said it. She had the mic in her hand. She dropped it and she challenged you. Go out there and do whatever your classroom needs. Do whatever your world needs. Do whatever your community needs to get better. I love it. Love it so much. Jessica, thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy busy life. Maybe you got out and this was actually some needed adult time. I don't know, but I appreciate the fact that you carved out some time for us to connect today. I'm so glad the world got to hear from you, that we got to see your cute little dog there, and we got to share the space with your husband over there as well. I appreciate that you were able to find some time for all of us today to help us learn and grow. For people that want to continue to learn and grow along with you, how can they connect with you?
So I don't really do Instagram. I don't get Teachergram. I tried, I don't get it. So I do Twitter. I'm at Kentucky Girl in Alabama, KY Girl in Alabama, and that's before education Twitter. I used to talk so much smack, and then people started following me that were like above me. So I stopped talking smack. Occasionally I will. Um, but and hopefully coming out soon, maybe this time next year, my book will be coming out. So it'll be through EduMatch. And but I do Instagram. Sometimes it's JL Reed 2014.
Awesome. Awesome. So those of you that are overachievers and want to continue to learn and grow, go check out the show notes because I'll have all of those things linked there. Follow Jessica, learn more about her story. Feel free to poke that bear and celebrate your favorite team, especially when they're playing Kentucky. When on that special weekend when Alabama is kicking Kentucky's butt, jump into that conversation too and just stoke the flames a little bit. So, Jessica, thank you again for being here. Those of you that are checking this episode out, again, just to learn from Jessica, feel free to go check out some other episodes as well, or come on back next year this time. And we'll be celebrating all things Jessica Reed again when that book is out. And we're going to be celebrating how to have those collaborative conversations with those you work with. So, Jessica, again, thank you so much. And everybody else, have an awesome day.